Remember when I told you that Roy just wanted a nice quiet vacation with beaches and pools? Well, when we got home, he got to use our pool, but he still hadn't seen a beach. So that was on my list of things to show him while we were in Hua Hin before we headed to Koh Samui. But first we went out to the mall, got something to eat, had desserts and drinks, and showed him around. And he saw the fish spa. He kind of got a kick out of that, though he wouldn't put his feet in it. And there's lots of fruit and things outside that you can buy to eat. After that, though, we headed over to the Centara Grand Resort. Some people call it the Grand Beach Resort, but it has excellent topiary. It's a high-class resort. Rita introduced us to it by telling us about a Thailand Tourist Authority tour that came from basically the train station. It was free, and they took us here for the first time. It was something that I thought Roy would really enjoy, and I know Janie and I do, so we went back. But after we spent some time there, we actually went out on the beach so that Roy could see his first beach and, wade a little bit. If he wanted to get wet, he certainly was welcome to. But the beach is quite amazing. It's a lot to see. The waters are an emerald green, so it's beautiful. And it's a little rocky. There's some rocks, but not bad. And, after you go to the beach, what do we do in Thailand? We eat. We always eat. The food's so good. So we went up to the Grand Resorts area for eating, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, the Grand Resort, here's a quick video showing you kind of a view of the eating area, the pool, and Roy enjoyed the pool, Janie enjoyed it, and we sat on those tables in the background. There is where we sat when we got our first meal at the resort from the beach. There's a lot to see at the resort. It's really an impressive place, and Rita says it's my kind of place. So it's very high class, and it is somewhat expensive, but it was worth it. Again, with the hat. The free nuts and stuff went with our drinks. I love the watermelon shakes that they make. And Roy loved the fact they brought out a cold washcloth that he could cover his face with and said, it's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world, so I'm going to have my mojito. So Roy had a really good time looking at the Centara. We had to do something to spend the time on the day because Roy didn't want to go to bed early, and we were actually riding the bus down and leaving at 11:30 at night. So once we left the Grand Centara, I took Roy and he got another massage. So we had a massage following the trip from Bangkok. We had our food. Again, that food that we had there was at the Mulberry House Cafe, which is Dave and Nat's primarily. But we also ate at the Terrace 90 Garden restaurant that Dave and Nat had introduced us to. Anyway, we caught the bus from Lampraya, from Hua Hin down to Chumphon, which is where we caught the ferry. Now, the ferry trip was a long trip, as you can see. Altogether, it lasted, we left at 11:30 and we didn't get to the island until 11:30, so 12 hours. 11:30 p.m. till 11:30 in the morning the next day. But we wanted to get as much of the day as we could on the island. So this was our trip down.
And we hope you enjoy the sights and sounds. Now, we did stop once on the way down, about an hour south of Hua Hin. We stopped at a rest stop where we could take advantage of restrooms and or get some food to eat or to take with us on the bus on the trip down. I took advantage of both. And the video is just kind of showing you what was available. And as everyone gathered to get back on the bus, and it woke us up a little bit, but it's going to be a long trip. We've that this is, like I say, an hour south of Hua Hin. Eventually we got to the ferry, the Lampraya ferry point in Chumphon, where we had to wait for the ferry. We had to wait about an hour before the ferry would board. So we got to look around that area, and again, they had places where you could buy drinks and food and sit and wait, but it was, well, it was a first for me, so I kind of enjoyed it, and we got to see the dawn. I won't say the sunrise, but we got to see the dawn at the beach where the ferries were coming. We got to see a soy dog out on the beach enjoying it. And, you know, Lampraya was pretty nice trip. I mean, it was long, but it was a nice trip to get us to the island. The ferry was a catamaran, and we had to walk out that long dock to get to the ferry. And then once there, the seating, they did have different seating, which I'll go into a little bit later, but we had pretty comfortable seats in an air-conditioned cabin, and you know, it was just a case of let's get to the island so we can start doing things. But it's like a 3 or 4 hour ferry ride from Chumphon, and you know, Roy enjoyed it, Janie and I enjoyed it, and we got some pictures on the way out. We stopped at 3 islands, so we got to see quite a bit. Now Roy went into the phase where he didn't want his picture taken, so, and the TVs, if they'd had a movie, it'd have been a lot more fun, but they just kept showing the same informational video over and over again. That got kind of old fast, but like I said, the cabin was air conditioned. The seats were pretty comfortable. After 3.5 hours, and after that bus ride, they wore a little bit. The only thing I didn't like was to keep it cool, they had heavy tinting on the windows. So shooting through the windows, it just didn't. Well, you could see the film and the pictures look hazy. So later on, we're going to go up on top of the boat and show you exactly how beautiful it was, because this water is emerald green. I mean, it was just beautiful water, but you can't see it that way when you're shooting through the videos. The first island we stopped at was Koh Tao, T-A-O, Koh Tao, and we got to see a little bit inside that, and it was interesting to say the least. It's a small island that a lot of people got off, but some more got on. Lots of boats around. But again, we're just trying to make our way to Koh Samui, where we're going to meet up with 2 other families. We were joined on this trip. These 2 other families drove down. We were joined on the trip by Jim and Lori Johnston, and by Helena and Eugene Kim with their son Benji. So you'll get a chance to meet them a little bit later in the trip. But right now it was just Janie, Roy, and I, along with a cast of thousands. No, there were quite a few people on the boat though. So you get a chance to see again. These are very colorful boats, and you can't really see that shooting through the tinted windows. So we did end up going up above later. I'm going to let the music play for a while and then come back later. After docking, we went up above so you could actually see the colors a little bit better, and we could see the people actually getting onto the ferry. At first they got off, but they got off while we were climbing the top, so I don't have real good videos of that. But this is the dock area for Koh Tao, and the boat next to us was basically a ferry from Chumphon to Koh Tao only, and we're on a bigger, faster ferry that goes all the way to Koh Samui, so I can't imagine how long it took. I like the bench seats. We actually use them. They're not as comfortable, clearly, as the seats down below, but you can just see the colors are so much better when you're not shooting through those tinted windows. And we just really enjoyed it. From the docks, you saw people getting on and getting off. You had the luggage that was loaded on for the people that were going to the next station, and the deckhands took care of all that. And you had, I think we carried our backpacks with us. I don't think we checked our bags. I think we were all using backpacks, and I think we just carried them on with us. But it's, beautiful sight and everything. We were just, ready to be there. You have, typical Thai buildings with the little, I don't even know what they're called at the points, but they're fun to watch. And then again, all the colorful boats. This is an island after all, so there's going to be a lot of boats, and there were. It was all worth seeing. And Jenny got a little bit tired. She took a nap. Roy sat down. I watched a ship pumping its bilge into the ocean. But eventually, it was time for us to leave and head to the next island. And it was a little bit of a ways. And this is where we're sitting on top. Now, because this is a high-speed catamaran, you get moving pretty fast, so the wind whips up, and you have to understand that Thailand is a hot location. But when you're on the water, it's 10 to 15 degrees cooler, and when you're moving 30, 40 miles an hour through the wind, it gets even colder. So it was quite chilly. We did stay up there, I believe, until we got to the next island, then I think we went down. But here's some pictures and videos of the trip over to our next stop, which I think was an hour away from our first stop, maybe a little bit more actually. Now I know I'm probably going to butcher the name of our next stop, but it's Koh Phangan is what I'm guessing. Phangan. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but it was a smaller island. Koh Tao is bigger than Koh Phangan, and then Koh Samui is bigger than both of the others, I believe. I believe Koh Samui is bigger than Koh Tao, but I'm not positive about that. I'll have a picture somewhere, I'm sure, that'll show you the different islands. I think it's earlier in the video, actually. They did have Comfort Plus seating for 100 baht extra, but it was freezing in there, and it was playing the same video, the same informational video, so we didn't partake in that. It's just too cold. But the seats did look really comfortable. And again, I just enjoyed all the sights and sounds of the people as we went from island to island. Now, if I were to do it again, I'd probably just fly in, because flying in is a lot easier. And I did want to show you a ship that was docking and how the crew hands work on it to get the ferry docked, and how they work with the people actually on the pier. So you get to see the Seatan Discovery from Bangkok docking next to us. We were actually behind us. We were right next to it, and I just found it interesting. Again, ships, more ships, and even more ships. And this is just to kind of show you the speed of the boat. I mean, you can see the speed of the boat. And lots of islands, and we're still not there yet, but we're getting there. And pretty soon, we'll be docking at Koh Samui, which is our final destination, almost. See, once we get to the docking area, we're not at the resort. So I had set up for a van to take the three of us to the resort. So once we got off the ship, we were able to, off the ferry, we were able to catch a van and just drive to the island. So enjoy the pictures until we get there. But, actually, I think Koh Samui's coming up very soon. You'll get the chance to see the docking area. We're coming into Koh Samui right here, and these have to be some type of fishing boat or diving boats because they're modern, and there were like 4 or 5 of them right together, all the same types. But welcome to Koh Samui. We are here, and we are so glad to be here. And then the ride to the Zara Beach Resort, and it was not a long ride, but after 12 hours on bus and boat, we were really ready to be there, and we're just going down the road, seeing the sights, the bikes, everything else, and sharing the trip with you, because once we get there, we were done. We were ready to hit the pool, to do whatever we could to just relax. Again, it was a nice ride, and again, we get to see, some typical pagodas and things on the way that you have in Thailand. And remember, they do drive on the left side of the street, not the right, so you have to kind of get used to that. But there were some nice beaches and things that we could see on the way. You don't get a really good view of it there, but I got a great view from the back seat of the van. Unfortunately, the video's a little bumpy, and that's because I'm trying to hold it with my hand. I didn't bring any stabilizer with me. I didn't bring a gimbal to help me keep it steady, but we're getting close now. We're almost there. We're literally one turn away from the beach resort, and then down this road they drop us off, we take our bags in, and we are at the Zara Beach Resort. And this place was lovely. Now, let me state unequivocally that as nice as the place was, the people were better. We just really enjoyed the level of service we got there, and we can highly recommend this place to anybody that decides to go there. We each had like almost cottages. They weren't quite. Janie and I reserved a 2-bedroom, connecting bedroom cottage type thing for Roy and us, so that we could be close without actually being on top of each other. And we're just kind of showing you the different things. Now, there is a lot to be said for the resort. We loved the pool. We visited a lot, and you could get breakfast out there by the pool. They did serve breakfast, they served food, and they served alcohol. That little tree thing is where I had to walk through. This is our place, so you can see all the things that are going on. They were cleaning the pool when we first got there. Nice big bed. In between the beds there was this kind of common room that we shared, and Roy had similar accommodation to what we had with that common room. So Janie liked the bathroom stuff, but I liked the bed. I'm partial to the bed. Janie got me walking through the tree, and you can see I have to bend over and turn sideways to get through it because I'm just too big. But anyway, our first day we walked downtown to the Pizza del Sol to get lunch. The first time we had, we're trying to stay awake. We didn't get a lot of sleep on the bus, but the food was outstanding, and it was relatively inexpensive. So we just enjoyed the place. Again, I'll let you see the video and the pictures until we come back to what we did the first night. So by the time evening came around, Jim and Lori had arrived, and we decided to meet for dinner. We met at poolside. You can see how blue the water is. It looks great. But we walked down to grab dinner, and I don't remember the name of the restaurant. It wasn't the Pizza del Sol. We did eat there again, but not this night. But the food was, pretty amazing. And in Thailand, when you do a video about food, it seems. Anyway, the next morning we woke up bright and early, and it was raining. But it did clear away after a while. And what I want to say is that, if you recall, Roy just wanted pool and beach and elephants. That's all he really cared about. So we started the morning with breakfast. It was good. It was poolside. And when we were done, we headed off to the Crystal Bay Beach. Now, the Crystal Bay Beach is just down the road from where we were at, and Jim and Lori drove. So we hopped a ride with them, and you can see Roy loving the sand and the salt water, and we did get wet, but they did have jellyfish, so we didn't go in very far because of the jellyfish. But we did relax in the sand, and we took in the sights, and this place is kind of amazing in that they have a lot to see and do. They have literally an old style sailing ship that you can rent right from the beach, and they have on the beach massage available to you, which I'll show you just a little bit later, but pretty amazing. Anyway, we really enjoyed sitting down under the tree and watching there's the ship, and watching the waves roll in as we enjoyed the scenery, and we gave Roy his day of relaxation. So the morning was spent at the beach just relaxing, and we really enjoyed it. Oh, by the way, Lori attracted a stray dog. Came over, sat right next to her. She did pet it a little bit. It would not leave her side. It liked her. There's the ship rental, and picture of the ship, and then there's where you get the massages on the beach. So without further ado, this is the Crystal Bay Resort, and it is beautiful. Again, look at the color of the water, just amazing. And the ship that you can rent, and then we slide around, and pretty soon we should be showing pictures of Helena and Eugene and Benji, and there we go. Helena, Eugene, and Benji Kim joined us at the beach for a while, and so the whole crew was there for this part of the day, which was kind of nice. Now, going back, we had the monitor lizards were found in the thing, but that night we wanted to head out for a night on the town, and our destination was going to be the Koh Tao Resort. Now, it's up in Fisherman Village, so we had to actually drive up to get there, but we had dinner up there, and then we enjoyed the fire show. And I'll just let the pictures show you what the fire show was all about. Now, before we go any further, I do want to mention that the Kims were following us, but got lost, so they headed back to the hotel. So for this night, it was just the Johnstons, the Kelloggs, and Roy Hernandez eating dinner, and the dinner was spectacular, as you can see. The fire show started towards the end of our dinner, and it was, just amazing. So, without further ado, the Koh Tao Fire Show.
After the fire show, I noticed that the Good Life sign, the F kept blinking out going between Good Life and Good Lie. I think it's Good Life. We have a good life. Anyway, our last full day on Koh Samui dawned bright and early, and this was one of Roy's bucket list things. He wanted to go see the elephants, so they went to the elephant sanctuary. Janie and Roy went. Later on, you'll see what I did for the day. But Roy and Janie went off and played with the elephants.
That's really nice. Yeah, I recommend if you want to know about if you try people or very delicious street food, very good street food. I recommend that and cheaper price as well. Yeah, and yeah, the first that we have the elephant you see at our local shirt. This is first elephant that we help them, mommy, daddy, and godmom. Yeah, we rescue her from the owner of them. So how did we make this project the first? The first we talk to each other. Our project, owner of the elephant and the owner of the place. Yeah, the owner of the place that is big. So some owner, the owner of the elephant, they be poor people. Not every not every owner of the elephant they be rich people. Some yes they got an elephant, but from the generation to generation. Yeah, sometimes they have no choice because elephant they eat a lot, right? And you have to pay for the medicine, have to pay for the caretaker. So yeah, some owner of them they have no choice. That's why they just bring their elephant to the riding, to the walking, to the elephant entertainment for working and feed themselves. Yeah, but the owner of them they don't want their elephant to work in that camp because sometimes that's hard. You know what I mean, right? You don't want your elephant, you don't want your animal to hard working. Yeah, if hard working is make her horrible, right? Make her bad life.
Now, Roy and Janie got some great videos and pictures of their time with the elephant. And if you recall, this was one of Roy's want to do things. This was on his bucket list of things to do while he was in Thailand. And so, although we did spend time at the beach and the pools, it wasn't as relaxing as Roy thought it would be. But he did get to spend a lot of time with the elephants, and I think he really enjoyed that.
Sugar?
Oh. I just would love you to try it. Okay, it's good for her digestion if you mix tamarind and salt together. Alright, well now we're gonna mix everything together. So could you help me to make take the right part and put it in the bucket. Just half. Make equal. So for supplementary food, we feed them 3 times per day. But if we are young one, we feed only 2, morning and afternoon. ได้นะถามพี่โนหน่อย
ได้ไหมปืนเลนใหม่เขาอยากได้เลนใหม่ไม่น่าจะซื้อของผู้ชายไม่ซื้ออะไรให้ดูวันเกิดอ่ะชื่อวันเกิดอ่ะวันแบบต้องรวมที่ของกันเลยเข้ากันเลยชอบแบบโคตรอ่ะชอบ
pumpkin pie. Another pumpkin.
ยำหมี่พายพัมกินI make a bolognese and yummy. You can try, okay? Try. That's good.
It's really strong. He likes bananas. Yep. Yep. One more. All right.
As can be seen in the photos and the videos and the upcoming pictures and videos, Roy not only saw the elephants, but he helped make the food, he helped feed the elephants, and he helped bathe the elephants. Now Janie, she was there documenting it. She helped feed the elephants. I didn't see her making any of the food, and I know she didn't get in the water with the elephants. Now, the one thing to note about Roy's dream come true is that when he came back after bathing the elephants, they got into a pool of water. Well, he got into a pool of water with the elephants. The elephants at one point pooped, and it came out and floated to the top, and the workers grabbed it with they had some type of a scoop, and they got it out of there right away. But you have to know that there are times when the elephants poop and it just stays in the water, and they pee in the water, and so the water was quite smelly. And the cleaning process is you take mud from the bottom and you rub it on the elephant, and then they get scrubbed down, and then they get sprayed. So needless to say, Roy's clothes were kind of stanky after he was done. When we got back to Hua Hin, we tried to wash him. That was no good. He was all set to throw his Adidas shirt away. It was so bad. But we took him down to a local cleaners, and they were able to get the smell out. So Roy saved his clothes while enjoying his day with the elephants. While Janie and Roy were off playing in the mud with the elephants, I hopped a ride with Jim and Lori, and we went sightseeing. Lori and Jim had a car there, so we were able to drive around the island. They also had a map that showed the various sightseeing stops along the way, so we took advantage of that and we went around the island looking at different things. There was so much to see and do, and one of the first stops we made was to the grandfather and grandmother rocks. Now, these are rocks that jut out on the shoreline out of the sea, and as you can see in the video, there are plenty of shops nearby. But when you go in and you see the rocks, which will happen shortly, you're going to understand why they call it the grandfather rock. Unfortunately, we never saw the grandmother rock, but suffice it to say, it is similar in naming convention to the grandfather rock, and in anatomical location. So without further ado, here is the grandfather and grandmother rock, and I'll come back after we get through this segment to talk about the next stop on our sightseeing tour. Now we went looking for the big Buddha, and we did find a pagoda with several Buddhas that we're going to show you. It was a great stop, and we did find a lot of things to see and do, and there were so many things that were a little bit unusual during this stop. I was impressed by, the different things we saw on the beach, but also when we finally all was said and done, and after we had eaten lunch, of course, got to have the food, the different statues, the different pagodas, the different Buddhas, I would guess. The big Buddhas, the demons that guard the Buddhas, and when we looked at it all, it was just very impressive. The multi-armed one, and then I'll just let you watch the videos and listen to the music. But suffice it to say, I thought the big fat white one was the big Buddha, and it's not. I believe the big Buddha you'll see later is a great big gold Buddha. And anyway, it was very much an enjoyable day with Jim and Lori, and I really did enjoy seeing all the sights that we were able to see around the island. But the best part of my day was that there was no smell of urine and poo-poo that Roy and Janie had to put up with. We just had a good time seeing the different sights and walking around to get the pictures and photos. So morning came and it was raining, as was typical during our trip there. But the rain cleared enough that we were able to take our ride and head off for the island. Now, we took a van. The trip is pretty much the same as it was, with one additional stop. We did stop at a resort for the van to pick up somebody else that was going to the ferry. So we got a chance to see another resort, one that we didn't go to, and that'll be up here in the pictures shortly. But I'll come back when we actually hit Hua Hin. I'm not going to show you the whole trip again. I don't think you need to see that. It's the same in reverse as when we got there. We did stop at Koh Phangan and Koh Tao. Then we hit the ferry spot in Chumphon and took the bus back up. So now we're back in Hua Hin. We went to Nico Cafe to have breakfast, and as you can see, the breakfast was pretty amazing. But that evening, we wanted to do something else.
Stand by me. So call and sing by me. Oh, stand with you by me. Stand by me. In the sky, middle of the pool. Tamarind Market.
We took Roy to the markets. We started in the Tamarind Market, as you saw earlier, and then went over to the Cicada Market. Now, the Cicada Market is more of an artsy type market, and Roy and Janie went walking around, took the photos that you're seeing on the screen now, and enjoyed that. But soon enough, it was actually time to pack Roy up and get him out of our home and on his way to his home, where he could enjoy the fruits of his trip, the souvenirs that he bought along the way. And we just have to say, we loved having Roy there, and we hope we have more people that come and visit. Hey, if you liked our video, be sure to like it. And if you like what we're presenting, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to have you as a subscriber here, and click the notification bell so you can be informed when the next video comes out.